This is the Citadel Gray Line, the show all about the Bulldogs of the Citadel, and you are looking live at Tyler Renew. I'm channeling my inner Brent Musburger. Tyler Renew, Citadel class of 2017, and a great running back for the Bulldogs, and he's our special guest. We're going to break down the loss to Mercer in the spring season opener. But Tyler, first and foremost, welcome into the Citadel Gray Line.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Look forward to speaking to you guys, and I know it's going to be a good year for the Bulldogs this year. Had a rough start, but I know they'll get it together. Chris Thompson will get them boards right.
Yeah, they kind of had the opposite start in Macon as opposed to 2016's Tyler Renew second play from scrimmage. How many yards?
You can't throw that one on me. I have no idea, but it was. I know it was a long one.
It was a long one. That's right. We are talking with Tyler Renew. This is the Citadel Gray Line. If you have anything you want to say about Citadel Bulldog sports, we welcome that in on the program as we're inching closer to our 300th episode of covering all things Citadel Bulldogs. I'm your host, John Rawl. I'm joined by Jeff Hartzell of the Charleston Post and Courier. Our Facebook page is at Citadel Gray Line. If you have a question, comment for Tyler Renew or anything to do with Citadel Bulldog sports, feel free to hit us up right now on the Gray Line, and we'll be happy to forward that along. We are presented by IPS Packaging. Also, we are presented by BigRedPalmetto.store, and we'll be having a trivia question that the Tyler Renew and running backs of yesteryear are going to be part of that trivia question, and that'll be coming up here again on Citadel Gray Line, presented in part by IPS Packaging and BigRedPalmetto.store. So glad to have everybody back. The Citadel did get underway last weekend with the game at Mercer. They lost by 2 touchdowns, a game they got behind. We're going to break that down in great detail in just a few minutes here on the program and tell you how that happened with Jeff Hartzell. But Tyler Renew is a working man these days, so we got to be quick with him. He's got to get back to work here. We're just thankful that he's on with us right now to talk about what he's been doing and what he did in many years. There's Jeff Hartzell there in the middle of the Poster and Courier. So Tyler, I guess first and foremost, how you been doing? What's going on with you?
Been doing well. So I'm actually currently at Virginia Tech right now doing a weight room for them. So I work for Sornex Exercise Equipment now. Others may be familiar with Rogue or Hammer Strength or something like that. They're competitors of ours, but obviously we think of ourselves as the best in the industry. So I've been working with them for about 2 years now. Love every bit of it. Do a lot of traveling, but it's a really good job, and I'm thankful for the opportunity.
And Jeff Hartzell, no stranger to Tyler Renew.
Tyler, I know you were doing a little coaching at Ben Lippen High School. That's your old school, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you hope to get back to that someday?
I do. I hope so. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm not traveling so much with Sornex. So at that point, whenever I'm able to move back home, me and my wife hope to have a future little running back in the future. But that'll be about the time that I get back to coaching as well, is when I can move back home full time.
Oh, breaking news. Tyler Renew, a married man. And Tyler, I'm going to really embarrass you here. You ready for this one?
What's up?
Look at there.
There you go.
Tell me about
That's not
that.
Embarrassing.
Wife Julia Renew right there.
That's very nice.
So y'all got married last year?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we were supposed to get married in May at the Citadel Beach Club, but due to some of the, obviously the pandemic going on right now, I got moved to August. So we ended up getting married in August, and it's been a wonderful thing ever since.
Tyler, you outkicked your coverage.
I definitely did. Yeah, she. I got lucky with that one.
Well, I think we all did.
Where is she from?
She's actually from. She was originally born, kind of raised in Charleston, but then moved up to Columbia during her about middle school, and she was actually a funny story. She was actually a dance girl whenever we played South Carolina, and she was a part of the Citadel dance team whenever we played South Carolina. So she didn't find it too fond of us beating them that day.
But she did not know you when you were a cadet?
She did not. No, sir. We actually did not meet until I got back from Atlanta, and she was really good friends with my cousin, and we just kind of ran in the same friend group for a couple of years, and one thing led to another, and we dated, and now we're married.
Julia Renew, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Is she aware of what you did to her Gamecocks?
She's very much aware. She doesn't like me to speak about it.
Well, we're going to speak about it here on the Gray Line. Of course we are. We've got some footage of Tyler Renew beating those Gamecocks that we're going to play in just a second. But yes, we are talking with Tyler Renew. If you have a question, comment, maybe you want to tell Tyler, again, hit us up on our Facebook Live chat here right now on the Citadel Gray Line on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. If you don't know who Tyler Renew is, he's a guy who came out of the Columbia area, went to Ben Lippen, and ended up at the Citadel. And speaking of the Gamecocks, you had a Gamecock connection kind of steer you into the football world and to the Citadel, right?
I did. Who are you referring to exactly?
I think Rob DeBoer, right?
Yes. Rob DeBoer played a very big part in my early years of football, along with Coach Shaw, Reggie Shaw, who's up at Burns right at the moment, and then Jason Reynolds, who's actually newly the associate head coach over at Irmo High School. So those three gentlemen played a very, very big role in my early years of football.
And Tyler, you worked at Williams-Brice Stadium. Is that correct?
I did, yes, sir.
So
yeah, I
I
worked with a buddy of mine. He worked with a peanut vendor there, and he had been doing that for a couple of years. And just in high school, trying to make some extra money on the weekends. And he asked me if I'd be interested in helping him out, and I said, sure. Get to go to a Carolina game for free and make some money as well. So I was definitely in for that.
Well, that day must be one of your favorite memories as a
by far. Yes, sir. That one and when we won the SoCon championship against Sanford.
Gentlemen, let me call timeout. Again, if you haven't kept up with Tyler Renew through the years, shame on you, first of all. But second of all, let's go to a visual reminder. Let's go back into the vault, if we will, Tyler Renew, and relive some great moments of number 36 in that beautiful Citadel blue and white. Enjoy this, everybody. It's Tyler Renew at his best in the years 2013 to 2016 as a Citadel football player right here on the Citadel Gray Line.
Statistics, 200, a score could seal it. Handoff up the middle, touchdown Dogs! It was Tyler Renew, the Dogs. Aaron takes the snap, gave it up the middle, and
it's not the same. And seeing a spread offense for the first time, facing someone running a very challenging bear look on defense for the first time, live special team.
Nobody touches Renew. Off to the races.
Everett. Right hash, snap back, ball down, kicks on the way toward the open center. It hits the outright, it came out. It hits the outright, it comes out. It's no good, and the Citadel wins. You must be kidding me. It hit the right upright. It hit the right upright. And the Dogs are going back to the playoffs. It's a guarantee. They clinched the automatic berth. And the Dogs are going to the playoffs. And somehow, ladies and gentlemen, they've gone to 9-0.
You guys stepped up, never in doubt. We rip off a long run. We get down to the defense, not in the we make a field goal. And next thing you know, you're Southern Conference champions.
Well. How does that make you feel?
And that brings back a lot of old memories and a lot of excitement.
I think I see a little tear in his eye.
Yeah, a little bit. I had a little bit would creep up a little bit when that ball hit the goalpost. Brought back a rush of emotions.
Who was that guy sitting next to Mike Houston?
That was a very different version of myself. I saw that video and I was like, wow, I've changed a lot since then.
You were running away from those Gamecock defensive backs.
Yeah, I can't say I have that speed anymore. That's for sure.
Tyler, we included clips there from you way back in your sophomore, Knobmore years at the Citadel. And we started talking about you first on this show. We weren't praising you at first. We were actually picking on you. You had a slight case of the Fumble-Rooskies for a while. And now that you're in the strength and training business, I want to know, as you went forward in your career, what was some of the tricks now looking back that you kind of learned to keep that ball close to you and not get it knocked out?
I really think a lot of that was mental. I never really had much of a problem with that in my high school or like early football career, and really didn't have an issue with it my freshman year. So I think it was kind of a thing where I'd gotten ahead of myself a little bit mentally, and I kind of had to take a look in the mirror and kind of check myself a little bit. And Coach Thompson had a big part of that as well, and Donnell guiding me along and encouraging me. Sometimes it was very harsh encouragement, but it was encouragement altogether, and that's what I needed. A lot of it was weight room, getting my upper body a little bit stronger as well, being able to hold the ball correctly, and then just fixing my form, and then also just going out there and believing that I actually could do it instead of going out there and just, before the play started, oh, please don't drop the ball, please don't drop the ball. It was more like, go and how many yards can I get, and when I need to get down and stop fighting for extra yards and actually just get down instead of someone ripping the ball out. There was a lot of different things I had to learn, but I think if it wasn't for Donnell and if it wasn't for Coach Thompson and Coach Conti and all those guys, there's no way I would have been able to conquer that mishap I was having.
Well, you did, so that's to your credit. Tyler, what do you remember about your tryout with the Falcons and your experience there?
It was awesome. I can't say enough about it. All the coaches, all the players, specifically, Devontae Freeman, drawing a blank on his name right now. He's out in San Francisco. But all those guys were super helpful to me in my development there with Atlanta, because it was almost a very, very scary world in a way. It was like almost like I jumped a whole level of football from going from, to FCS all the way to the NFL. So there was a lot I had to learn really quickly. And obviously at the Citadel, I didn't do much blocking when it came to just, pass protection and things of that sort. So that was something was a very, very hard learning curve for me. But with the help of all those guys and the coaches around me, it made for a really good experience.
Well, again, you did have an opportunity to play in the NFL for the Falcons back in 2017, I think was the year.
Yes, sir.
And got to see you in that preseason game against the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
That was a lot of fun, but didn't work out there. And I guess we have to ask you, since that's only been a couple of years, have you seriously thought about trying to go back and play football?
There was a time right when I left Atlanta and came back home. There was a short period of time where I kind of had the itch to go back and play again. I thought, I'd just go back and train again and hopefully get picked up by another team and for the fullback position or possibly the running back position. But kind of what I tell everybody, and it's the honest truth. I kind of walked away with it outside of Atlanta, the Citadel high school football, without any serious injuries. I had concussions here and there and I had some twisted ankles, but never an ACL tear or any surgeries on any bones or ligaments or any of that sort. So it was kind of one of those things where I thought to myself, is it worth going back and playing again and possibly risking a serious injury that may inhibit me later to play with my kids? So really my biggest point of leaving it down altogether was that I wanted to be able to play with my kids one day and share that moment with them and work out with them and play football with them or basketball or any sport they played, or even if they did something other than sports, being able to interact with them and do the things that a father would want to do with their children. So that was probably the biggest reason for me stepping away was being able to keep my health.
That's really amazing with the pounding that a fullback takes in the triple option. I think you had 40 carries in a game one time.
Yeah, I think it was Sanford. It was the most. It was somewhere between 40 and 45. It was a lot. I was pretty sore the next day.
Yeah. Well, Tyler, I wanted to ask you something that sort of relates to the game we saw against Mercer, where the Dogs got off to a slow start. And Coach Thompson said with the roster limitations and everything going on right now, it was tough to scrimmage and go good on good a lot while they were practicing, getting ready for the game. Do you think that makes a difference on game day, how hard you're able to practice during the week, go good on good and things like that?
Yeah, I think that makes a massive difference. Not having guys there that, obviously you have a bunch of bodies and people that can play, but just the truth of the matter is some people are more talented than others, and if you have guys that aren't as talented out there on that first team defense or second team defense or even the scout team, it makes it really hard to get a real life look of what you're going to be looking at on the weekend. So I remember back when I was at the Citadel, we would go 1D versus 1O on a Wednesday or a Thursday. So we would go at each other in the beginning of the year when we were all really fresh. Obviously, as we got near the end of the year, you started backing off on that. It wasn't much wear and tear on each other. But in the beginning of the year, we went at each other pretty hard, and it always made us ready for the opponent that we were going to play that weekend. Not only for the defense, but also for the offense, being able to reflect that speed of what the linebackers are going to do, what the defensive line is going to do, what the secondary is going to do, their rotations and all that kind of stuff. So it makes a really, really big difference when you're not able to do that during the practice week scrimmages.
Coach Thompson said they just weren't ready for the speed of the game yet, and you could really see that, I thought, in that first half. What did you like about their effort in the second half?
I thought they played great, and obviously, Coach Thompson was going to go into that locker room and fire those guys up for the second half and let them know that they're a lot better than how they played in the first half. And I think they knew that, already going into it. So I think, like you said, it was just a slow start. They had to get used to the speed of the game. And then once they kind of got their feet under them, you saw in the second half that they made a really good effort to come back. They just ran out of time.
Jalen Adams is the new quarterback, and he's probably a step quicker than any of the recent quarterbacks, Brandon Rainey and Dom Allen, and some guys you played with. What do you think of Jalen?
I think he's got a lot of good upside. Obviously, he doesn't have the size and kind of the bulk that Dom Allen and Aaron Miller had, but he's a lot more like Ben Dupree. He's very quick, he's very fast, he makes his reads really quickly, but he's a young guy. So with that youth comes a lack of experience. But as he gets more and more games under his belt, he'll become more experienced. His reads will become faster, and he'll be able to probably even check out of some plays that he thinks even better, which is what Dom was really, really good at, was that he could be on the field, he could see the defense, and he can make a check really quickly to put us into the correct play that ended up always, more often than not, being more beneficial than what was originally called.
Do you mean Coach Dom?
Well, yeah, Coach Dom now. Yes, sir.
That's right. Quality control.
Yeah.
For the offense. So that'll be a help to Jalen Adams, I'm sure.
Yeah, Dom will be a very, very good benefit to Jalen and all the young quarterbacks they have.
And then Cooper Wallace, the slot back, had a big game.
I saw 20 miles.
What did you like about him? What did you like about Cooper?
No, I was saying his speed, obviously, running 20 miles an hour, that's pretty impressive. I don't think I ever touched that mile per hour, but I think he's good. I think there's he's got a really lot of good players. But the thing about it is there's just a lot of youth right now, which, just same thing with Jalen. All these guys, as they get more experience in this offense and that cohesion continue to bond together, they're only going to get better and better. And I think that's why we were so good the back half of my time at the Citadel, because all of us were my class and the class before me and even the class under me. We all came in really fresh. We got a whole new coaching staff, so it took us a little bit to kind of adjust to what they wanted, but it also, even more than that, it was about all of us coming together and believing in one another that the guy on the left and the guy on the right was going to do their job. So I didn't really have to worry about what they were doing. All I had to do was focus on myself. And when did they get to that point that they don't have to worry about what the guy on the left and the right of them is doing, and they can just focus on what their individual job is, they're going to be really, really good. So it's just going to take a little bit of time for them to get that under their belt. But obviously with the pandemic and everything, them having limited practices and all that kind of stuff, makes it a good bit harder to get that cohesion. But I believe Coach Thompson will get them right.
Well, looking back at your career, excuse me, John, looking back at your career, they're going to play 8 games this spring and 11 or 12 in the fall. That's 20 or so games in a relatively short period of time. What kind of toll do you believe that takes?
I think it's going to take a lot.
Is it much different than having spring practice?
Yeah, I think it's going to take a lot. I mean, obviously you have spring practice, and spring ball can be pretty tough physically, but it's just not the same as going week in and week out playing a whole football game. Excuse me. It's just a totally different feel. It's going to be tough. I can't imagine doing it. Playing a full season in the spring and then turn right around and playing a full season in the fall. Just really for the aspect of injuries and recovery and all that kind of stuff, and also mentally kind of trying to get away as well. Having to continue to get yourself up for 2 full seasons in a year, potentially a third when you go into the fall. That's a lot. That's a lot on the body. So, my biggest advice to those guys would be to make sure, even if they don't feel like they're sore and they're tired yet, is to get in that training room and make sure they're getting all the recovery they possibly can, and getting with Donnell to make sure they're getting all their weaknesses becoming their strengths, because they're going to need it with such a tough road ahead of them with this season and the fall season coming up.
Well, those ice tubs are fun.
They're cold.
Because ice tubs are fun, but they can get through this tough time, Tyler Renew, if they use Sorinex. So tell people how they can use Sorinex.
Oh yeah, we got the Citadel's got the whole Sorinex setup in there. We did their room back in December, so they've got the whole setup in there.
Nice.
Donnell did a great job designing that room. With his
Did you have something to do with that?
I did assist with that build. Yes, sir. Me and Phil Province. He's actually he played football as well. Clay Allen, who went to the Citadel, and Ricky. He's one of our marketers over at. He's part of the marketing team over at Sorinex, and he helped with the video aspect of everything. So we actually had 4 Citadel alumni helping with that project.
Congratulations. Nice. Well, speaking of Sorinex, I know you need to get back to work. We can't thank you enough. Tyler Renew, a guy who has 3 Citadel rings, 2 championships in the SoCon, and of course that band of gold class of 2017. Congratulations. As we wrap up with you, I still have to know, you're from the Columbia area. Mm-hmm. You have worked in the Columbia and Lexington area. Yes. What is it like to be Tyler Renew after 2015 in the Columbia area?
It's cool. I mean, obviously I still have some people from time to time that are like, oh, you're that guy who beat us, or, oh, you're the guy, there for the Citadel, but if it's a Clemson fan are always happy about it. Carolina fans are never really happy about it. But it's fun. But, it's one of those things. I'm just Tyler Renew. I'm just a regular guy. I just like to go to work, be with my wife, be with my dogs, be with my family and friends, and just go to work every day and live a normal life. So the fame aspect, it's here or there to me. I could really care less. I just like to go to work every day and just be a regular human being.
Well, you couldn't have done all that without all your teammates and coaches, and so 100%. It was all a team effort. And so we thank all of the members of those great teams, back-to-back SoCon champions. And, of course, Kyle Weaver, a big part of your offensive line, was the host of this show for a few years. So
yeah, he's doing great with his new gig with Chick-fil-A. He's doing an awesome job.
All of you are doing great.
Freshly married, and he's got a baby now too.
Yes, he does. Mm-hmm. Yes, he does. Hint, hint.
Yeah, I know. Everybody keeps tapping my shoulder on that one. So. Even my wife is tapping my shoulder pretty hard right now.
Oh, well, we don't want to keep you anymore. Tyler, thank you very much. Jeff Hartzell thanks you as well, and we look forward to keeping up with you and following your career. Congratulations on everything.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, guys. It was a pleasure talking to you guys.
Great to see you, Tyler.
Tyler
Glad
Renew.
So well.
And he's got to go back to work, y'all. Hey, we want to let you know that Citadel Gray Line is presented in part by IPS Packaging and Automation, a name that you can certainly trust. Since way back in 1976, IPS Packaging and Automation has been providing manufacturers and e-commerce companies with all they need to help with the automation of the packaging industry. IPS offers a complete line of packaging products. They've got stretch films, 3M tapes, corrugated boxes, strapping, and automation. IPS Packaging and Automation, they can analyze and streamline your current methods to improve your packaging process. Give them a call, 800-277-7007. Again, 800-277-7007 to learn more, or visit them on the web at ipack.com. IPS Packaging and Automation, a proud supporter of Citadel Athletics. They're Citadel-led, and we thank them for their great support alongside Big Red Palmetto. We're going to have a trivia question here. Speaking of Tyler Renew, it's a trivia question coming from the backfield of yesteryear that it's going to be a tough one, but somebody out there watching and listening just might be able to get this one a little bit later in the show. If you have a question or comment, hit us up on our Facebook page right now or call us on our number, 843-779-8496. That is the way to get in touch with us here on the show that's all about the Citadel Bulldogs. Again, John Rawl, thanking you for being a part of our program. Once again, thanks to Tyler Renew for coming on and talking about his years suiting up in the Citadel blue and white for the years 2013 through 2016. All right, let's go now and talk about this current Citadel football team with our co-host, Jeff Hartzell of the Charleston Post and Courier. Jeff Hartzell, tough loss, tough way to get the season started this past weekend.
It was. As we mentioned with Tyler, the Bulldogs did not look ready when the ball kicked off at 3:30 p.m. on Saturday in Macon, down 28-0 at the half. And really, it was the easiest 28 points you'll ever see for Macon, for Mercer. They did not have to work very hard. for those 28 points. So Brent Thompson had a lot to talk about in the locker room at halftime, and he let them know about it, according to the coach himself. And they were much better in the second half. Of course, when you're up 28-0, there might be a tendency to lay off a little bit, lighten up a little bit. But the Citadel dominated the second half about the way Mercer dominated the first half. Just a couple of play. They were within one possession twice in the second half. Could never get that play that would tie up the game. And so when Mercer returned the onside kick for a touchdown late in the game, the final score became 42-28.
42-28. Gave them that 28 and then tried to fight back. And did the coach give you a good explanation of how they got so far behind?
Well, as we talked about with Tyler, he said they just weren't ready for the speed of the game. And he said that was due to the limitations they had in preparing. There's 73 players right now available to play, according to Brent Thompson, and they just weren't able to scrimmage and go good on good and be as physical as they wanted to in the preseason. And you have to remember they're going to play again in the fall, so all these coaches have to coach this spring with an eye toward the fall, and that's what you see and a lot of them doing. Of course, the Citadel had 5 players opt out and 6 suspended for this first game, so they were shorthanded on that front as well. And one player that was really missed, I thought, was Chris Beverly, the all SoCon safety, who's not playing this spring. Chris is not opted out, or well, I guess he's sort of opted out. He had a COVID situation in his family and has left school to deal with that this spring. And Coach Thompson says he more than likely will be back in the fall. But they really missed Chris Beverly and Sean Thomas Faulkner at those safety positions. And as I said, Mercer scored some way too easy touchdown passes.
Jeff, I know this was the first game of this season, of this spring season. I don't know about you, but I spent half of the game looking up the official Citadel roster to figure out who the heck was who, because there were so many new faces out there.
There were some new faces out there. Jalen Adams, the new starting quarterback, and Cooper Wallace is a redshirt freshman. He did play some in the fall, but he also had a big game. Jalen ran for 144 yards, and Cooper Wallace ran for 128, including a 73-yard touchdown. And some other new names, Carson Hatchet, a true freshman, starting at defensive end. He had about 9 tackles.
He had a sack, didn't he?
I think he did have a sack.
Yeah.
So he had a very good game. Brian Horn has been around a while, but is starting at linebacker right now. And he had a very good game, made some big plays as the Citadel had 3 straight 3-and-outs on defense to start the second half. So, yeah, there's some new names in the lineup, some names that some players that they miss, but they're going to have to make those adjustments as they have Chattanooga coming in this weekend for the home opener.
And it seemed there in the backfield, Jeff, that it was the trend seemed to be more than any other. Najim Njoku and Cooper Wallace is the standard bearers there in the backfield. Did that kind of seem the way for you?
Yes, Cooper Wallace and Nakim Njoku are the starting slot backs. Clay Harris, the starting fullback. There was not much room up the middle all game for Clay Harris from the fullback position. But they did do some damage on the edge with Jalen Adams and Cooper Wallace. So, but you could see the timing was a little off. 2 crucial turnovers, both on bad pitches between Jalen Adams and Cooper Wallace. One of them turned into a scoop and score touchdown for Mercer in the first half. So some timing issues there to be expected when you have a new quarterback in the triple option. But they definitely need to iron those out this weekend. Chattanooga is very talented on offense and held Wofford to just 199 yards. Excuse me, 199 yards in their win last week. So a very talented, big physical defense for Chattanooga.
And of course, in the game, if there's a highlight that we can play, we played a section of it there toward the end. But Cooper Wallace, that I think 73-yard scamper. And what a brilliant pitch from Adams to him. I just love that timing on that particular play. And he just went up that sideline and got the touchdown. And you thought that the Citadel could find a way to come back, and they just fell a little short.
Yeah, then broke some tackles when he got down near the goal line as well. So that was you drop an option play, it looks like that. And the the other touchdown in the second half was not how it was drawn up. It was an option pitch that went to Nakim Njoku. It was supposed to go to Raleigh Webb, but the timing was a little off. Nakim made a great play, sort of improvising and grabbed the pitch and went in for the touchdown. So that play did not go quite as it was drawn up, but good thinking by Nakim to make the adjustment and turn it into a touchdown.
And Raleigh Webb did get a touchdown in this game in his native state of Georgia, but it was about the ugliest touchdown catch that he's ever had to receive from a Citadel quarterback. Luckily, he did score, and so he wasn't as much of a factor as a lot of us thought he would be in this game. I did see a kind of a newcomer, a tight end out of Irmo. I think he's a junior. He got a lot of playing time in this one.
Yeah, and they've also lining up Sumi Carley, the transfer from USC at tight end. He wore number 91. I don't know if you remember seeing him against.
No. I think
against
the one
Mercer.
I'm talking about is number 13. I think
that's Cole Owens. He's a wide receiver.
Okay.
But on the touchdown pass to Raleigh, Jalen actually had two guys wide open. Number 84, I believe he's a tight end. Yeah, Liam Reed was wide open in the corner of the end zone, and then Raleigh came open inside. And I think Jalen threw the ball where he needed to. You need to just keep that one low, so to keep Mercer away from getting their hands on the ball. And Raleigh made a nice sliding catch. He's now number 2 on the Citadel's all-time touchdown reception list behind, I'll let you guess who's number 1.
Andre Roberts.
Andre Roberts.
Okay.
Very good.
Of the Buffalo Bills. Good news. Speaking of players from yesteryear, let's go ahead and throw this out there because this was going to require a couple extra brain cells for some of you to come up with, even for yours truly, who claims to be a little bit of an insider on Citadel football and more. This one's going to be tough. So we just had Tyler Renew on the program, and he was a great Citadel football player that helped lead this team to 2 back-to-back SoCon championships. And he was in the backfield, of course. In 1992, a fellow named Everett Sands was one of the great Citadel players in the backfield alongside people like Travis Jervey, who helped the Citadel win the 1992 Southern Conference Championship. I want to know what other SoCon champion, that would be, I think, 1961, what person in the backfield helped lead the Citadel to its first Southern Conference Championship. This person would go on to be the first Citadel football player to be invited to the Senior Bowl in his hometown of Mobile, Alabama. And this person, a class of 1962 member, is in the Citadel Athletics Hall of Fame. And he was also a 1st Battalion commander out of Delta Company. Delta Frat, yeah. I want to know who that is. If you have the answer to that trivia question, we have something special for you. This is Old Core Citadel trivia here today on today's Y'all Show. But if you have the answer to this knob knowledge question, all you have to do is text your answer to 843-779-8496, 843-779-8496, and let us know who this person is from the class of 62 that was a great Citadel running back who helped lead the team to its first SoCon championship. And this person was invited to play in the Senior Bowl and is in the Citadel Athletics Hall of Fame. I think he was a 3-time captain his senior year in various sports. So some of you may have to do a little digging in your guide on for this one, but it ought to be a great trivia answer. And again, if you are the lucky person, thanks to BigRedPalmetto.store, you will get the $25 gift certificate sent your way. Jeff, all right, Citadel has to put Chattanooga, or rather put Mercer in the rear view and look forward to facing the Mocs.
That is correct. And Chattanooga, the preseason word out of Chattanooga was that the Mocs weren't very interested in playing this spring, but you couldn't tell that by their effort against Wofford last week. They upset the Terriers, you'd have to say. Wofford was ranked number 11, I think. And Chattanooga was unranked, and Chattanooga won the game. I don't have the final score here in front of me, unfortunately. But Chattanooga
I watched
has
some
a
of that,
very,
and it was a pretty convincing win for Chattanooga.
yeah, it was. And Chattanooga has a very talented team. They have 25 players who are transferred from other four-year schools to Chattanooga. And that includes the quarterback who threw for 223 yards and a touchdown against Wofford. The number 2 rusher, Gino Appleberries from Western Kentucky. Their leading receiver against Wofford came in from Middle Tennessee State. And their top tackler against Wofford came in from Louisville. So a very talented Chattanooga team and a very impressive victory over Wofford to start the season. And this week, Wofford has had its game against East Tennessee State postponed because Wofford has fallen below the minimum number of defensive linemen needed to play according to SoCon guidelines. You need 6 defensive linemen. Wofford currently has 5 that are able to play due to opt-outs and injuries. So that game has been postponed, and I think Wofford probably had some depth issues against Chattanooga as well.
This past weekend, the Citadel did get to play. Most of the Southern Conference teams did have a chance to play the week before. What are you hearing in the trenches, Jeff, of how things are going thus far in the SoCon?
Well, there's been 2 games postponed so far. Chattanooga's season opener against VMI was postponed, and then the Wofford ETSU game this week. So that's not too bad, I guess. There were a couple upsets in the SoCon last week. Of course, Chattanooga over Wofford, and the VMI stunned 10th-ranked Furman 14-13. So across the nation, I think 20 top 25 teams played last weekend, and 11 of them lost,
including the
so
Bison.
COVID football is very unpredictable so far. So you have to go week to week and see what happens. But this is an important game for the Citadel. They need to put Mercer behind them, come out ready to play from the opening kickoff this time, and see what they can do against a very talented Chattanooga team.
Well, Jeff, I don't like losing, but if North Dakota State can lose a game, the Citadel could probably lose a game and survive. So,
yeah, if the Citadel comes out and plays the way they did in the second half against Mercer, obviously, this is an obvious statement to make, and plays the entire game that way against Chattanooga, they will have a chance. But they need to do that. If they don't, Chattanooga is talented enough to take a 28-0 lead, just like Mercer did.
Okay, Jeff, what can you tell us about attendance for this week? Any developments there in the last couple of days of what fans need to be aware of as they make their way to Charleston?
No developments. It's going to be 3,000. That includes season ticket holders, Corps of Cadets, family members of players. No individual game tickets on sale for this one. Coach Brent Thompson did mention in his Monday press conference that the big wigs at the Citadel were meeting as guidelines in the state of South Carolina loosen up. The vaccine becomes more available. I think they're talking about maybe letting more people in for the final 3 home games, but there will be no changes this week that I know of. So the number is 3,000.
Okay. Jeff Hartzell of the Post and Courier. Jeff _ from the PC is the way you can keep up with everything up to kickoff and during and after and more. Charleston Post and Courier's Jeff Hartzell on the Bulldog football beat. We also have Citadel basketball we got to get to, Jeff, as they get ready for the Southern Conference tournament. What's going on there with Digger Balcom's team?
That is correct. The Dogs finished with a 12-11 overall record, 5-11 in the SoCon. They earned the number 8 seed. They will face number 9 Western Carolina at 5:30 on Friday in Asheville, and that also is limited attendance. They started off with no spectators at the SoCon tournament, but North Carolina has loosened up their guidelines as well. So now they will have some limited spectators. I can't remember what the number is. It's 200 something per team. and those tickets are available through each team. They won't be sold, I understand, at the Civic Center or the – can't remember what the name of the gym is in Asheville, but you have to get those through your team. So if you're interested, contact the Citadel ticket office. If you're interested in going to Asheville to watch the Citadel play Western Carolina on Friday, if they win that game, they'll get the number 1 seed, UNC Greensboro, on Saturday. So they split 2 games with Western Carolina during the season. So, the good news about playing on Friday is that you're playing another team that has to play on Friday, and a team you have a chance to beat, not one of the higher seeds. So they beat Western Carolina at home. They lost to Western Carolina on the road. If you'll remember, Hayden Brown drove down the court and had a shot to win the game at the buzzer, and the Western Carolina player blocked the shot right at its apex. It wasn't going up and it wasn't coming down. It was just kind of hanging there at the top, and he blocked it and to seal the game for Western Carolina. There was no review available on that play. A lot of people thought, why don't they review that call? It's so close. But there has to be a whistle blown for it to be reviewed. If they don't make a call, you can't review it. So that play was not reviewed. Western Carolina won that game by a point, and the Citadel got their vengeance a week later at home at McAllister. So it should be a close game and a game the Citadel has a chance to win.
Jeff, I was bitter about that game. I didn't have a chance to see that Western Carolina last-second attempt there. But I think it went against the Bulldogs only because Brian told me so. And you're sitting there thinking, who the heck's Brian? I've got a friend of mine who has zero connection to the Citadel. He lives in Memphis, but he bets on every Citadel sporting event.
Oh, wow.
And because you can, right? We live in a world where you can bet on all kind of crazy things. And Brian, let's just say one reason he bets with the Citadel is because it's advantageous to his bank account. And he's the one that let me know that they lost that game. I'm like, well, did he get, was that a goaltend? And he said, no, I don't think so. So there's a lot of people maybe like Brian out there who have zero connection, who watch Citadel sports or follow Citadel sports like this show here because it helps their bank account. Isn't that crazy?
Well, I think if you bet the over on Citadel basketball most of the time, you probably come out ahead.
Yeah, but he'll send me a random text like in December about a Citadel game that I didn't even realize they were even playing. I'm like, golly, you got to be kidding me. But and especially those games, they got moved up to like early in the afternoon because of COVID. Thanks to him, I knew that they were even playing. So there's a lot of people out there, thanks to FanDuel and these other crazy sites that DraftKings, that people literally make or lose money on Citadel sports, which I think is a little bit bizarre. But yeah, well, Citadel basketball. I'm sorry.
The all SoCon team should come out before Friday. So Hayden Brown has a chance at SoCon Player of the Year, and definitely, in my opinion, a first-team all SoCon player. And then Caden Rice should earn an honor somewhere as well. So keep an eye out for that.
Awesome news, Jeff. Anything else before we get out of here with you?
Let's mention that the baseball team is 2-4 so far. After series against Longwood and North Florida.
And by the way, Brian, let me know about that too.
Can't find my notes here.
Better Brian informed me about that Longwood series the other day.
Anyway, they're hitting .309 as a team, which is a good start. Jeffrey Brown, Tyler Corbett, Noah Mitchell, all off to really good starts at the plate. And then Michael McElvey is the heavyweight champion in the SoCon in wrestling from the Citadel. So congratulations to Michael.
All right. There's another sport for Brian to bet on, wrestling. Jeff, we thank you for everything that you do, and we will be right back here next week to talk about what happened with the Chattanooga game, and then the Bulldogs, I believe, are back on the road.
That is correct. I don't have the schedule here in front of me. What is it?
Is it Western Carolina?
I think it is.
Yeah, they'll be playing in Cullowhee against the Cats the following week. But we'll be right here to talk about it. We thank everybody for being a part of Citadel Gray Line, And again, we can't thank Tyler Renew for coming on here and sharing his great memories and stories of how he helped the Bulldogs to 2 back-to-back SoCon championships. Just a great story. And if you aren't familiar with what Tyler did, please go to postandcourier.com, look in the archives, and Jeff Hartzell penned many an article about Tyler Renew and great reads there.
Yeah, he's a great kid. He came up the hard way, and I can't remember the exact story with his parents, but his grandparents played a big role in his life. So if you Google Tyler Renew and Jeff Hartzell, you'll probably find some stories that I wrote about Tyler in the day. Of course, his great exploits on the field with the Citadel, and then his time trying out for the Atlanta Falcons as a fullback in the NFL. So it was great to see Tyler again. I'm glad he's doing so well.
Yes, postandcourier.com is the website for all that. Thank everybody for being on. Jeff, thank you. And we'll be right back here next week with an all-new episode of Citadel Gray Line from CRM Sports. So long, and thanks for tuning in.